switch over. We are officially beginning the predictions for TNA Lockdown. So, TNA Lockdown is the second pay-per-view happening this year in our TNA Wrestling Predictions League. So, our first one was Slammiversary, which was in June. So now we are here in August for Lockdown. So, if you are unfamiliar with the concept of Lockdown in TNA, all the matches on the main card are in a steel cage, and some of them are regular cage matches, some of them have different stipulations, and we're going to go over them. The pay-per-view is taking place this Sunday, August 23rd, and from Chicago, Illinois, and it is going to be starting at 5 p.m. Well, the countdown starts at 5 p.m. Eastern, so 2 p.m. Pacific, with a 3 p.m. start time, which is very interesting. So I'm going to go through the matches that are on the countdown and the main card, and we're going to make some predictions. So here we go. We're going to start with the countdown, and the first match I'm going to discuss is The Righteous, so Vincent and Dutch, taking on BDE and Rich Homie Swann. I honestly think it was such a disservice to everybody in here that we didn't get a proper on-screen build. The premise of this is the Righteous think that Rich Swann is impeding BDE from growth and, discovering more. And the Righteous are hoping that they will, he will come to enlightenment and join them. And honestly, it's been intriguing, but a lot of this buildup has been on exclusive backstage social media videos. And then we got like one promo from the Righteous on this Go Home show. And honestly, I think it could have been interesting, but when you got everything else going on, this got the back burner. As much as I would like to see BDE and Rich Swann win, I am going to go with the Righteous here. I think now that the Righteous are out of their feud with the Hardys for now, I think we need to start building them back up as a credible threat in TNA. And honestly, I think BDE questioning his own, ability, it could be a fun storyline with Rich Swann being the foil in all of this. So I'm going to go with the Righteous here, and I hope TNA gets it right. Now we get into our second match on the Countdown show. So we got a returning Trey Miguel taking on Special Agent Zero of Order 4. Now this match was made officially last week as BDE and Rich Swann took on the system, but they had a mystery partner, which was a returning Trey Miguel. Trey has been out on injury for the last couple of months, so I am personally happy to see him back, but he got attacked by Special Agent Zero after the match last week. And so he calls out Special Agent Zero for a match at Lockdown, and therefore we're getting this match on the Countdown show. I have Trey Miguel winning. I don't think he's going to lose upon his return from injury. And then I think TNA should push him either back to the International Championship, or if they want to give him something else like X-Division World Title. Actually, X-Division would be good for him right now. So we'll see how that goes. But I got Trey Miguel winning. Now let's get into the main card. So these matches are in no particular order. I only know what is main eventing the show thanks to TNA, but I don't know the rest of the order of the main card. But we're going to go in no particular order, and we're going to start with our TNA X-Division Championship match. Now, originally, this is just going to be a regular steel cage match, which is going to be crazy. But now, the stipulation for this match, it is now a last man standing match. So don't know why we didn't lead with this, but it is what it is. So we have our current X-Division champion, Cedric Alexander, taking on the former X-Division champion, Leon Slater. So this match is very interesting. Only because this is a last man standing match, but there was a stipulation that Cedric Alexander had Leon Slater agree to in order for this match to happen. If Leon Slater loses this match, his championship reign gets erased from TNA history. So to put this into some context, Leon Slater currently is tied for the longest X-Division championship reign in TNA's history. It is him and Austin Aries who have tied for the longest X-Division championship reign. And if Leon loses this match, his title reign gets erased, which means that it will be like he never won the championship, which means that Austin Aries would be the sole longest reigning X-Division champion in this company's history. Now, TNA has made some questionable decisions in this year. But this one baffles the hell out of my mind. And I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, oh my God, there's a possibility that they would pull this kind of crap. Against my better judgment, though, I cannot bet against the youngest in charge. So I am going to go with Leon Slater here, only because I really don't want his X Division Championship reign to be erased from TNA. But we're going to see how this goes down. But I have Leon Slater being the winner here. Moving on, next up, we have our TNA Knockouts World Championship. So this is the champions, Allie and a mystery partner taking on the Elegance Brand. So Heather by Elegance and M by Elegance. Now, Rosemary, Allie's partner, has been missing, and Allie has been looking for her. So she's been missing. She's been leaving clues for Allie. I think the mystery partner is going to be a different version of Rosemary. So I don't think the Elegance Brand is going to take titles from Allie and Rosemary. So I have Allie and her mystery partner winning this match. Moving on to our next one, we have our TNA International Championship match. Champion Jason Hotch taking on challenger Mustafa Ali. Again, this is a rematch. We've I really enjoyed the story we've been getting since Jason Hotch won the title about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And so essentially, Mustafa Ali gets his rematch here. I think it's going to be another fun match. I have Jason Hotch retaining. I don't think they're going to take the title off him quite yet. And hopefully, this continues the disintegration of Order 4 so everyone involved goes their separate ways. Next up, we have our TNA Knockouts World Championship match. I'm going to be honest, this has not been my favorite build of all the matches going into Lockdown. We literally probably built this like in the last 2 weeks. Elayna Black is challenging champion Xia Brookside. As much as I would love to see Elayna win, I'm going to pick Xia to retain the championship here. But then you run into the problem because if Xia retains, there really isn't many knockouts left. There's no Lang Lee to come after the title. If Elayna loses, the only other person left that I can think of is it Indy Hartwell versus Xia Brookside. But other than that, there's no one really left to take on Xia because this Knockouts division is running on Skeleton Crew right now. If you're not in the Knockouts tag team division, you're here in the singles division, and there's not a lot of women left. Maybe we could see like the newly signed Gabby Forza come in soon or something, but we gonna see how that works out. But I got Xia Brookside retaining, unfortunately. I don't think that Elayna is going to win here, but crazier things has happened. So I honestly think this could be 50-50. But for the sake of things, I'm going to go with Xia. Next up, we have a lethal lockdown match, which essentially is just a cage match. So we will start with one person from Team Babyface and then one person from the system. And then because Brian Myers won the advantage on the go home show, that means that the next person to enter the cage is another member of the system and then Babyface. And we keep going back and forth until all 8 people are in the ring. And then first to pin or submit in the cage is the winner. So you have the system, which is Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, Bear Bronson, and Alicia Edwards. And they are taking on the babyface team of Fabian Aichner, Casey Navarro, Ricky Sosa, and Jada Stone. So it should be an interesting match. And I'm going to go with the babyface team. I'm going to pick Fabian, Casey, Ricky, and Jada. I think that it's going to do more for them to win than the system winning. But again, TNA loves the system. And so they have won in places where they actually shouldn't, in my personal opinion. But regardless, I am going to go with Ricky Sosa. I'm going to take the team of Ricky Sosa, Casey Navarro, Fabian Aichner, and Jada Stone. Sorry, I had a brain fart, and I was also texting somebody about these things, so my bad. But yeah, I'm going to go with the babyface team. I think they have more to win this match than the system does. But hey, you know what? TNA loves giving the wins to the system, so we'll see what happens on Sunday. Next up, we have the final encore, which, God, I am hoping that this is the final between the two. Not because it's bad, but they've had like 2 matches before, so I'm really hoping that this is going to be it, and they both can move on to different feuds. They're 1-1 apiece, so I'm gonna go with Elisha here. I think Elisha should win this match, but honestly, this has been another feud as silly as it has been of how we've been doing this feud and how it started. I actually think this is a pretty fun feud. And I am going to go with Elijah here. I think he should win this match. And hopefully both of them can move on to different programs that continues to evolve them over the course of everything. Now we're getting down to brass tacks. Next up, we have our escape the cage match, which is as it says. Escape the cage means that to win this match, you have to escape the cage, and that is the only way you get to win this match. And so here we have Moose taking on Frankie. And I've not been the biggest fan of this build either. It's been a weird build. It's like, we don't have anything for you two to do, so y'all gonna fight. And I'm like, okay. So I'm gonna pick Moose here to win. I think that Moose should win here. Frankie can afford a loss, so this should be very interesting to see. And yeah, there's nothing else much to say about this. I hope we give something more substantial to Moose and Frankie for that matter, but we'll see what happens. Finally, TNA has officially confirmed that this is our main event of the show. This is going to be the Hardys defending the TNA World Tag Team Championship against the Nemeths. So our TNA World Champion, Nick Nemeth, is teaming up with his brother to try to win the tag team titles. Why not? Without getting ripped apart by the internet, my feelings on the Hardys have already been expressed on this channel. Me and Radio Will have really been, we've let our feelings be known of how we feel about the Hardys just dominating the tag team divisions, but I don't want to talk about that here. I don't foresee them losing these tag team championships. Now, the only way I see the Nemeths winning this match and becoming tag team champions is if Leon Slater wins the match, becomes X-Division champion, and then immediately after Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth win, he cashes in option C, the X-Division championship, to become world champion. So we're going to see how that all goes down. But yeah, but for right now, I have the Hardys winning this match because statistically speaking, they are more successful in defending their titles than not. So I think the Hardys win here. But yeah, those are my TNA Lockdown predictions. And that brings me to the end of our TNA Wrestling post show. Honestly, this was a pretty good. I think I did a good job. But that's going to be it for me here tonight. And that wraps up BC Wrestle Pod for the week. So next week we have a full lineup, as we are going to be doing something pretty much every single day during the work week. So to kind of give you a little bit of a preview, Monday night, Benny and I will be here to talk about Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view. So I am looking forward to watching that a little bit later, and that should be a fun time. And we're going to talk about the pay-per-view. Do we have new champions? Or do we have developments of certain things? Tune in Monday to find out. Then Tuesday is our AEW post show. It is also the Go Home AEW post show, as Benny and I will be talking about Dynamite and Collision. And then we will also be making our predictions for AEW All In, which is happening next weekend. So I'm very excited about that. Wednesday night, you're serving up a double dose. As always, first and foremost, we have our NXT post show, as Kilt and I will be talking about NXT, and also that is the go home show for NXT, as we will also be making our predictions for NXT's next pay-per-view next weekend, Heat Wave. So that should be really fun. And then, of course, Papa Oso and I will be here to talk about CMLL as we inch ever so closely to the 93rd Sadio show happening in 2 weeks, I believe. So that should be a good time. Then on Thursday, I will be here to do a solo review for Stardom's 5-star GP finals. So the tournament's been happening all summer, and we're going to see who is crowned our 5-star GP winner. So that should be a lot of fun. And then finally on Friday, Radio Will and I will be here to do our TNA Lockdown post show. We're going to talk about the pay-per-view and our thoughts on everything. So stay tuned. Well, that's going to be it for me here this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing all of you next week across our shows. But from all of us here at BC WrestlePod to you at home, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. I will see you all next week for our shows. But until then, and until next time,
thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.